Brian, what's the benefit of using both Kenny and DeAndre and kind of having that two-back look?
You saying at the same time
Not the
or
same time. I'm
rotating
just
them?
telling you, just kind of alternating them, getting them both involved in
Yeah, I think, there's obviously a couple things. You get to keep guys fresh, and, I think both of those guys have very unique skill sets, and I think they complement each other very, very well. And they're both really good players. So, anytime you have good players, you got to, try to get them on the field and get the ball in their hands.
We've seen a couple instances now where AJ's been emotional after a game, didn't want to talk to us. Just knowing him the way that you do, like how do you read that, or what that means from your vantage point?
Really, that means nothing to me. I mean, I know the type of person that AJ is. He's the ultimate competitor. He's somebody that's super trustworthy, that I have a lot of confidence and a lot of faith and a lot of respect for as a person and as a football player. And that'll never change. Like I said, I've known AJ for a really long time, and he's as good of a person as you'll come across. And, I have nothing but good things to say about him. He's having a tremendous year. And, we just got to make sure that we continue to keep striving, keep growing, and, keep putting our best foot forward.
Devontae said after the game that one of the things that him and Jalen were talking about in the locker room was about improving the communication when Jalen's changing plays at the line. Can you give a little more into what the issue may have been there in that regard, or what it may be?
Well, I think, Jeff, communication comes in a bunch of different forms, right? So that could be verbal, it could be nonverbal, and I think, that communication is key, and that it goes so much to in terms of the operation, because it is very fragile and it happens in such a quick amount of time, right? So once you put those time constraints on the communication, I think ultimately this is what it boils down to. It has to be clear, it has to be concise, and it has to be confirmed, right? So we just got to make sure that, everybody's on the same page, because these things happen in the very heat of the moment in split seconds, and you have to be able to get that communication through to get it operated the way that you want.
In DeAndre's case, he's on the verge of 1,000 yards. He's top 10 in the league in carries. During the summer, you guys were kind of unsure if you'd have that featured back or a back taking that workload. At what point did you guys realize DeAndre could be that guy for you?
Well, I think when he had how many yards did he have against Minnesota? Like 200 or 150, something like that. And he we were kind of rolling in that game, and all three guys were rolling, and I think Boston ended up going out right before the half, and all three of those guys were kind of rolling against Minnesota, but he, had a great game and broke a late run for like a 50-yarder, and he's just continually worked and continually put himself in position to make plays, and he's done a tremendous job this season. He's someone who, again, is very dependable, very trustworthy, and somebody that we have a lot of respect and trust in to get the job done.
What did you make of the run the ball chant?
What did I make of it? I'm just trying to call the game, man. At that point it was it 1st and 20, and then it was 2nd and 20, and so it was interesting. Like, sometimes you call some of these RPOs, right, and based on the defense that you get presented, it could be a run, it could be a pass. So, very rarely are we in situations where we're only calling run, we're only calling pass, we're only calling screen. So like these plays have a bunch of different options, and they can unfold a bunch of different ways based on what you're getting defensively. So, at that point, I think it's really important when you think of it like in the short term of, okay, what is the best way to get the first down in that scenario, right? So you're calling it trying to get a first down, and sometimes there's two schools of thought, right? Sometimes you can say, all right, let's play for a 3rd down. There's other times where you can say it might be better to try to get the first down on 1st or 2nd down. And I think when you call the game and you kind of have that mindset and you're looking at it from that vantage point, I don't know if everybody else would be looking at it from that vantage point, but I think if you look at it, some of the top offenses in the league, like a lot of those guys get first downs on 1st and 2nd down. And, fortunately we are a phenomenal 3rd down team. And, we have that at our disposal. But sometimes you play situations differently.
When did you have to go to the silent count?
When do we have to go to silent count?
When did you have to go, didn't you have to use the silent count in the game?
No, we not for that type of reason. We have some certain plays that we like to use as a silent count. So yeah, that was not because of that.
Jalen's passing chart from this game had one throw across the middle of the touchdown to Devontae. Was that based off what the Giants were showing you, and do you think you guys should be throwing to the middle parts of the field a little bit more?
Well, I think that, he had an option route and it was an end breaker, and they did a great job of reading that coverage. I do think offensively is you want to make teams cover the entire length and the width of the field. And, I think for us, we're very uniquely built in terms of we got guys who do a great job of winning one-on-one on the perimeter. So, a lot of that focus and attention goes to that. And so, ultimately, we just got to continue to put our guys in the best spots possible. So, I don't know if you ever look at it and go into and say the ball has to go here or to this particular part of the field, right? You're thinking defensive structure, you're thinking matchup, you're thinking players not plays. So, a lot of that goes into it, and there's some plays that we have hit over the middle. There's some plays that we've dominated on the outside edges of the numbers, and I think when you do that, you just gotta make sure that you're getting everybody involved.
The 3rd and 20 play that Jalen made, I mean, how he kind of stepped out of the pocket and threw, kind of a rope, I guess, over the defender. I mean, how clutch of a play was that? I know you've seen that from him many times, but I mean, does it still kind of amaze you every now and then that he can?
I mean, it's an unbelievable play by both of those guys. That one will be on some clinic tape for a really long time. I mean, it was an excellent fundamental play in terms of his ball security through the middle of the pocket, keeping 2 hands on the ball and climbing vertically. And I think that's just part of it. You see those plays when you see guys kind of climb vertically through the middle of the pocket, you just have so much more vision in terms of what's going on. And then just the talent it takes to layer that throw over a second-level defender in a situation that's 3rd and 20 after you just got a false start on 3rd and 15 to get us in position to get going and put a scoring drive together. So those plays that Jalen makes, I mean, those are some spectacular football plays, and not very many people can do that. That's something that, he has obviously a great knack and a great feel for, and it was no doubt a huge play in that game.
You chalk up the interception as an unavoidable play. Obviously, Dallas slipped and just move on from that and say, hey, this is like a no-fault car accident.
Yeah, I mean, those, you can get into the details of brake mechanics and things of that nature, but this is football and things happen. And that was a very, very unfortunate play. Again, we had another RPO call that got thrown, and unfortunately, we slipped, and Adoree made a good play on the ball and was able to catch it and run it back. But again, those things happen, but, to me the question now is how do you respond? And, I think everybody has responded appropriately. In that next drive, we were able to go down there and get it moving and put ourselves in position to go score again. So, obviously you never want those things to happen. We've had, some turnovers this year that have been very strange, but they are what they are. And, we have to accept that. We have to own that and continue to use these next 2 weeks to eliminate those.
Devontae was one of the players expressing frustration that the offense wasn't where he wants it to be, that you guys aren't good enough on that side of the ball yet. From a big picture perspective, what's keeping the offense from getting to that that high level that everybody's expecting, and what's your confidence level that it'll get there?
Yeah, we just have to continue to play clean and not turn the ball over and put our guys in the best position, play in and play out with appropriate answers for what we're getting defensively. So, I think that's the challenge, and that's the beauty of this game is, season's not done, so you're continually working towards that goal. And I think, people can have frustrations, but that is because they understand and they realize what it can be. right? And those are the type of people that you want, right? You want people with really, really high standards. You want people who are really, really accountable. You want people who want to perform to the best of their ability week in and week out. That type of consistency is something that you strive for. And, you know, I know we got a bunch of people in this building that have those standards, right? That, you know, a bunch of people that strive to be the best they can be the best in the world at what they can, at whatever their role is. And, you know, I think that's something that's really commendable.
Who in the
Couple more,
Cardinals?
please.
Who in the Cardinals are you really worried about on that defense?
Buda Baker's a fantastic player. And, you know, I think they have a really, really good scheme. And they, you know, they know how to present problems offensively with some of their alignments and some of their packages. But, you know, Buda's a ball hawk, and he roams, and he can make plays. You know, he's a guy that constantly shows up on the tape week in and week out.
Grant and Britton had their first targets of the season. Britton was his first of his career. Obviously, they're involved in the offense every week, but why did it make sense to get them involved in that regard on Monday?
Well, it was good. You know, we got the screen up early to Britton. You know, he did a good job with it. And Grant's throw was, you know, we had an action shot called, and the defense didn't give us the look that we wanted, and, you know, we ended up checking the ball down, and he made a great play. I think it was like a 12-yard gain. So, you know, all of those guys are very, very capable, and sometimes coverage dictates where the ball goes, and sometimes, you know, it's intentional where the ball goes. So, you know, it just goes to show, like, you got to be ready, right? I mean, it's week whatever, and you know, Grant's made some big plays throughout the course of his 2 years here, and you know, he was ready when his number was called.
If I can circle back to Swift for a second. In the preseason, so much of the talk was how he could help in the passing game. Has he surprised you guys as a volume runner?
No. You know, he's been somebody that, you know, I remember watching him back in the day at Georgia, and, you know, he was a guy who could do a little bit of everything. And, you know, there's been no surprise in terms of his ability and what he brings to the table in the run game and the pass game. So he's somebody that, you know, again, is very dependable, and we got a lot of trust and faith in.